Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast, where all accountants come to learn all the ways to grow your firm. And when you're in doubt, I am here to help you out. So if you're ready to learn and ready to grow your firm, then you're in the right place to sharpen your skills and increase your revenue. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accountants come to learn all the ways to grow their firm. So if you're ready to learn, ready to grow your firm, then you are in the right place to sharpen your skills and increase that revenue. And today we have a little bit of a twist on the show. It is our bonus episodes that I will be randomly doing with some case studies of students that have graduated my 8-week sales mastery training to show you what's possible. What are some of those limiting beliefs that you can actually break through? What are some of the fears that's holding you back and actually serving more people and helping more clients and ultimately increasing your revenue? So today we have a very special guest. Our special guest is Mr. Aleksey Kaplan. Before we welcome our special guest, Aleksey, to the show, as an accounting professional, I know that you could possibly or maybe are frustrated and stressed trying to really get those right clients in the door, right? Having no control over who you work with, which Aleksey is going to be talking about today, or truly how much you can charge with confidence. And maybe you probably don't even believe that you could get a yes to a higher monthly fee type of client that can actually afford you, not based on what you think they can afford. So I have our 8-week sales mastery training that I'm going to be opening up a few coaching sessions for some of you that might be listening that have been in business a minimum of 2 years and that are doing at least $100,000 in revenue. So if you are an accountant, have your own firm, then feel free to book your call at theabundantcall.com. Once again, theabundantcall.com, and we can go through who some of your ideal clients are, what's been your challenge building your dream practice so you can work a little bit less, have more time and money to actually go enjoy your family and go traveling. So head on over to theabundantcall.com to schedule your coaching session with myself, yours truly, or my partner in crime, Denise. And now let's welcome our guest on today's episode, Aleksey Kaplan, all the way from New York City.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you back again. And today is a little bit different. So for those of you listening, I am going to be doing some case study reviews, and Aleksey has been an all-star student of our 8-week sales mastery training. But ultimately, I think a lot of you would resonate with his story, where he's been. And I just thought it would be great to welcome you back, Aleksey, to the show, have you here so you can share with others some of the biggest challenges that you had in your firm, some of those beliefs of the things that you never even thought was possible, right? Like that you could actually enroll and collect money up front and those types of things. And sometimes when we run our own businesses, we have blinders on and we have to take those blinders off in order to see what's possible on the other side so all of you can help more people, which ultimately brings more money in your pocket. So welcome, Aleksey, to the show. It's an honor to have you. And can you just share with everyone where it is that you're located, what your firm does, so they have a little bit of background on you?
Absolutely, Michelle. Once again, glad to be back to the show and sharing some of my experiences from personal challenges that I faced with, I've been facing since I opened my firm. Now, just to introduce myself, Aleksey Kaplan, CPA out of Staten Island, New York. I'm a solo practitioner. I've been practicing in this particular location for the past 4 years. When I just joined and opened up my firm, the only thing that I knew how to do is do taxes, more of the technical knowledge instead of the business sense that I was able to gain with my experiences and working with Michelle and the team. So one of the beliefs that I had when I just opened up my firm is that you have to work hard. It's all about the numbers. You have to get as many people through the door, do as many tax returns as you can in a very short period of time. And based on that income alone that you generate during the tax season, essentially that's the only income that you get for the most part of the year, and you have to spread it out and make sure that it's enough to survive on, to feed your family, to pay for the overhead.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that. But I think what you said earlier was actually really important in that you know how to do the taxes, you know how to do the technical stuff, but as an accountingpreneur that you are, which means you're an entrepreneur in the accounting field. So I have coined the term accountingpreneur. You didn't have the business sense, right? And I think a lot of us, we start our own businesses, our own firms. I don't have my own firm, but I have my own business. But, even people with MBAs, they don't learn the real, boots on the ground, real life stuff that happens with running a business. So, Aleksey, share with us one of the biggest challenges, if you had to pinpoint it, from where you were when you first started to where you are today that you actually overcame, but the biggest one that you were able to overcome.
My biggest challenge was to charge the fees that I'm charging today. So I was speaking to some of my fellow colleague CPAs that have been in business for years, just to get a feeling in terms of what they charge based on the complexity of one particular return, different schedules, et cetera, just to get a feeling. And obviously, the biggest notion that I had to overcome is the fact that, oh my God, I can't charge more than my peers. Nobody's going to work with me. So the price factor and getting people to hire me only because of price was probably the biggest challenges I had, because based on everything that I heard from everybody around me is that in order to compete with somebody who's been in business before and you're starting out your own business now and you're a new kid on the block, is only by price. Right. So there's no demonstration of value. It was more so based on price. And the lower the price is, the more likelihood for you to actually obtain that new client and have them to work with you. And then with time, you could slowly and steadily start raising prices. So that was probably the biggest fear that I had, that I overcharge and I will lose the sale, I will lose the client. And especially in the early stages, when you start with zero, every single client and every single penny counts. So there were a lot of mistakes that were made even by me. And now I'm looking back and I'm laughing at it. But at the same time, I did not know any better. Right. Nobody's teaching me how to run a business. Right.
Right. No one teaches how to run a business. And then also no one really is teaching you probably how to charge fees, that you really want. Because like you said, the belief and the fear was that if you charge more than your peers that have been doing it a lot longer, no one's going to want to work with Aleksey with his services. Right. So what are one or two things that you did mentally to help, someone listening right now? What are the few things that you did? And then share with us what you used to charge, and then share with us now, right? Because this is a case study. Aleksey is someone who has drastically made a significant difference, and you can too. So share with us the after.
Or when I just started, I would work with essentially anybody that would call my office. So they would call, make the appointment, come in, bring their last year's tax return. I would look at the prices that they used to pay to the accountant. I would discount it by 20% just to make sure that they're happy with paying prices. Wow. And to get their business.
I didn't even know that. So you were doing a discount on top of working with anybody. Got it. And just to clarify, that doesn't work, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Continue.
It does not work for one reason only. Is because, once again, volume. My goal was to pick up as many clients as I could in a very short period of time. And based on everything that I heard, and I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but all of my peers were advising me to charge as little as possible just to get them, the new clients, to work with me, because just to establish my reputation and to build on it. I listened to their advice and I did exactly what they said. And one of my biggest fears was to charge more than what they're used to paying, because I could not demonstrate the value that I'm actually obviously worth to them at that particular time. So in the first season, I picked up a lot of clients. But as the saying goes, if I'm standing in the middle of the woods and I'm exchanging $1 for $2, I'll have a line through the, covering the entire wood because everybody would want to get $2 for the $1 that they're paying. But at
Yeah.
the same time, does it really work in business? The answer is no, because I was losing money by working with the low-paying clients because of the overhead expenses, the stress level, and et cetera. So at the end, I was really not profitable as much as I could have been, even in the beginning and early stages of my practice.
How much do you think you were losing? Like after you actually analyzed this?
I was losing probably hundreds of thousands of dollars
Okay.
and working tirelessly all day, 7 days a week, 14-hour days,
Right.
staying away from my family and just sacrificing a lot, once again, in hopes of establishing something that my peers were telling me the only way to do it.
Right. So what did you change? What are the few things that you changed that someone listening today can learn from you, make a change? And then what was the after effect?
Well, first of all, I did not come up with it by myself. I was only able to change these things after taking your class and learning from you. Yeah, you need to get a credit when it's actually supposed to be given. So
I appreciate that.
it's my pleasure, but it's true. So one of the things that I've changed is that I've established boundaries. And those boundaries are essentially the type of ideal clients that I would only work with day in and day out. That's the first thing that I've done. So I'm not picking up and working with everyone that calls me. I need to make sure that they are a good fit for my firm and my practice in terms of what I believe with the type of clients that I want to work with and the type of clients I want to work with for long term, not just on compliance side of things for once in a year type meetings to do their taxes. So that's the first thing. The boundaries is the first big change that I've established. The second thing that I did is obviously I started charging my value. I mean, the price is based on the value that I actually could offer to all of my clients. And those fees are 4 to 5 times higher than what I used to charge 4 years ago, even on the simplest little things.
Let's hear the simplest little thing, because if I'm wondering, so is somebody else. So what's the simplest little thing that you started charging 4 to 5 times and you saw that the fear of charging the high amount actually was in your favor, and that the fear was that one of your limiting beliefs, what we call, right? It's just what we think is going to be the result, but it's actually not the truth.
Absolutely. So I'll give you an example. When I just opened up during my first tax season for a Schedule A 1040 with itemized deductions, I would charge anywhere from $125 to $175. Okay, and that would include the federal and state filings. So the total, let's say, $150 on average. Now, for the same type of return, I charge anywhere from $650 to $750, and it takes me the same amount of time to complete, and I work with a lot less clients because every single client pays for 4 to 5 clients that I used to work with in order to generate the same revenue. So this is the most basic service that I offer. And I was able to do it and dictate those prices to my prospects whenever I'm meeting with them or speaking to them over the phone without any fears, without any reservations. And 4 out of 5 times that I do this, I actually get the client. So
not bad, right?
Not bad.
So what did you have to do, Aleksey, to put that fear to the side and see what was possible? Granted, I know you did a lot of work, but if there were one main thing that could support someone today when they're like, there's no way someone's going to pay that. Aleksey's crazy. Like, what is Michelle and Aleksey talking about right now? I am in a rural town, and in this town, no one would pay those prices, right? You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I was that guy.
Right. I know you were that guy.
The biggest obstacle that everyone who's listening needs to overcome is actually convincing themselves. It's the mindset. So you have to convince yourself that you're actually worth the money. And if you are convinced that you're worth the money, it's a lot easier to relay that message to whomever it is that you're working or meeting with.
Right.
So once you prove to yourself that, yes, you can charge this money, and yes, you're worth it. You're worth more than that. And yes, nobody's going to give you that objection. If you believe it, it's a lot easier to, quote unquote, sell it to others.
Right. And you have to believe it first. And if you need a little bit of help believing in it, for those of you that have a CPA, an MBA, a master's in tax, tell me what doctors get paid. Okay? Because I guarantee you, Aleksey, a doctor doesn't do anything for $125 to $175. They might meet you for 30 minutes of work if they get paid $650 or $750. So all of you are geniuses. You're all super intelligent. I love working with you, and you also should be getting paid like a doctor. So I'll leave it at that. Okay, Aleksey, share with us, where your firm is at now, like maybe where you were a year and a half ago and where you're at today.
Well, the firm is definitely growing, and growing exponentially, not so much in number of clients, but in terms of revenue size. And I was able to do it with, once again, charging a lot more money for all the different services that I provide, and working with clients that fit my ideal client avatar, per se. Only the clients that I want to work with, and the clients that I could actually help.
Right.
So it's, once again, it's all about value proposition. And I know for sure that I could demonstrate the value to any of the prospects that I'm talking to or meeting with. And once they see the value, the fees that I charge for the services that I offer is basically, it's a no-brainer. But that's the trickiest part, and you have to learn how to do it. It takes time. It takes a lot of practice. But at the same time, you should not give up. You should believe in yourself first, and you should definitely relay that value over to whoever it is that you're speaking to by substantiating it, by supporting it with the service, with the level of service that you provide.
Well, and I think that comes with baby wins. So when you get a baby win and you got your first client to pay you even on your smallest service, if it was 150 before and 650 now, that's a win. And when you actually acknowledge your wins, which Aleksey has not mentioned yet, but a big part of what I like to do and share is that you acknowledge yourself every day for something you did really awesome, because each win will layer on top, which will also increase your revenue. So where were you at that before, and where are you at now, Aleksey?
I could talk about it in more than one way. So
let's just talk about how many clients, because now you're working with less. So you've had a decrease in clients and an increase in revenue. I think that would be exciting to understand and quantify for someone listening today.
Okay, so let's do it this way. So when let's roll back about 18 months ago to January, February of 2018, just to get an idea, and so people could easily see the transition, because once again, we are talking to the numbers people. So I think numbers are relevant in this case, and I will mention a couple. So in January of 2018, right before the tax season started, I had 120 tax clients that would come into me and get their taxes done. That's it. Now, from January to February of 2018, I was able to pick up 85 new tax compliance clients for an additional revenue from those 85 clients of about $49,000. So once again, charging more per client, and this was the total new revenue. Now, from March 18 through September of 2019, some of those new clients that I picked up, they were not just tax compliance clients. Those clients actually needed my assistance with proactive tax planning because they were overpaying money in taxes. And that's something that their accountant that they used to work with did not provide or did not do for them. They did not discuss any of the possible tax saving opportunities for them. But with those same 85 new tax compliance clients, from March of 2018 through September of 2019, I was able to generate additional about $300,000 of revenue.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, yeah, so the average cost of this new client, and once again, not all of them needed the tax planning, but I was still able to sell about 18 tax plans to them for the total revenue of about $145,000. And then additional services to their ongoing accounting and different tax compliance needs. There was additional about $130,000 of revenue. So all cumulatively together, if I'm working with 85, let's say 200 altogether tax clients or tax compliance clients, I'm generating over $300,000 in revenue, which translates to about $1,500 per client. Now, right. How many accountants actually charge $1,500 per client?
Oh, they're about to, Aleksey.
Yeah.
We keep talking about this. If you want to get paid like a doctor, it's time to start charging like one. And basically, I believe that this is like the holistic doctor approach, because I truly believe that all the, accounting services, tax planning, people like me, we need the preventative approach. So we rather pay you more money and pay less to the government. That sounds like a good deal to me. So yes, it's just like you said, it's about breaking through some of those fears and other things. So kudos to you. By the way, just so everyone knows, that's an additional $300,000 in revenue on top of what he's already currently doing in the firm. Correct, Aleksey? That was just added revenue. That was new revenue, increasing prices, offering higher price services. That is additional revenue, which, by the way, that's what I track, because I think you've got your current business, but if you can shed the dead weight, keep your revenue the same and increase it, you're in a win-win-win-win-win situation. I have a question, Aleksey. You know those beliefs that sometimes you have, like the one you shared, there's no way I can charge more than the guy down the street that's been doing this for 20 years. Like, I've got to discount my price 20% just to get a client. Or there's no way I'm actually going to love this selling thing. Like, sales just seems really pushy. And, I didn't open my own firm to think that I actually had to sell. And you get what I'm saying, right? Like those blinders that we have on, because we just are, like you said, no one taught you the business side. We're really good on the technical, and I'm saying I know I'm not a CPA or an accountant, but I love working with you. So I just include myself now with you guys. We're really good at the technical, and we're really good at making sure that all the numbers are right. But if you don't have top line revenue, then you have a nonprofit. And I don't think any of you opened up an accounting firm to have a nonprofit. So what's that other pretty important past belief where you had blinders on that something that you did not think was possible, but now it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I accomplished that. Like your biggest win that you've had in the last 18 months. Not only the revenue win, that's all great and fine and dandy, but I think there's other wins underneath that. And Aleksey, I think one of it was maybe actually go on trips around the world a lot, but I don't know. I don't want to put anything in your ears. I just got to see a lot of pictures on Facebook of Aleksey going on a lot more trips than I ever saw before. So what was that other belief or thing that with the blinders where you're like, wow, I was able to push through that?
Well, for me personally, I have 3 kids. I have a wonderful family, but at the same time, obviously kids are expensive, and different age group kids, in which I have, are expensive, more expensive than the same or similar type of age group for the children. But that's something I've learned along the way. But at the same time, the wins, the traveling, going into all the exotic destinations, that's something that I was able to win based on the hard work that I put in my practice and by working less. So essentially, during off tax season, I work 3 days a week. Okay, I'm in the office 3 days a week. The rest of the time, I'm just hanging out. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm relaxing. I'm spending time with my wife. We go to spas. We go to lunches. We go to dinners. We travel with the kids constantly. Something that I always wanted to do is I'm actually doing. I do not let the business overtake my life. So with the fact that I was able to generate more revenue by working less hours with less clients is a huge win for me. And using that revenue to kind of divert and invest into my own family for affording things that I could not afford before without any hesitation, traveling to Europe, to all over the world, to all the exclusive destinations that before I could not even dream of. Now it's a reality, and
Right.
it's a given. You know, not to brag or anything, but I just came back from Aruba. I went there for 4 days. We had a small window, so my wife and I took it without any kids. It's very expensive to go there, but guess what? I could afford it, and I'm not afraid about spending money on exotic destinations because it brings me joy. It keeps me motivated to continue doing what I'm doing, to continue helping my clients save ridiculous amount of money in taxes, and as a result, make an impact on their lives.
Yeah.
That's something that
and that's
I was not
huge.
able to do before. Yeah, that's
Well,
huge, of course.
And again, I think one of the biggest things you just said is don't let the business overtake your life. And I think for me, for a lot of the accountants that I personally worked with and I see, and I was at QuickBooks and I was at this, Profit First, and I've been around the block now a little bit this past year. And really having our businesses take over our life it's not healthy. And you want to stick around for your 3 kids and travel, like this is the way to go. So I'm super proud of you, Aleksey. Thank you so much for sharing your story with others to inspire them to take action, because without action, we don't have any results. So this is for you to actually go take action, create your boundaries list like Aleksey did. Aleksey, is there anything else you would love to leave everyone with today? One last piece of advice or last words?
Absolutely. So the number one challenge that I had that I mentioned before is not being able to believe in myself, that I'm worth a certain amount of money for particular work. So I want to leave everybody with this one thing, is that mindset, the right type of mindset, gives you the opportunity to do things that you could not imagine you were able to do before. So the minute that you realize that you can do it, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in your skills, you're not selling anything. It just sells itself. And people that see the confidence that you have in yourself would love to work with you, because it's a no-brainer. When you work with somebody successful, when you work with somebody who's confident in their abilities to help you as a client, per se, it's a mutually beneficial relationship that will last a lifetime, and everybody will win. So please believe in yourself. Do not give up. There's a lot of challenges. There are a lot of obstacles in the way. But the minute you realize that you are worth something, and not something, but a lot of money, and you actually believe it, that's the moment in time where your life will change forever and for better. And you could do things that you could not imagine to do before. So believe in yourself, and everything will work out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aleksey, for sharing your story with others, for them to believe in themselves and that they are worth something. I just think you're extra worth something. And I think it's really important to, point out that confidence does sell itself. And when you show up to your clients with confidence, not only on the technical side, but on the business side, that's when you can enroll a lot of new clients, just like Aleksey did. Grow your business by over $300,000 in revenue in an 18-month period. So thank you again so much for being here with us on the Abundant Accountant Podcast. I can't wait to see what you create in the next 12 to 18 months.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Thank you all so much for joining myself and Aleksey here on a bonus episode of the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It is always an honor to be here with you. And, one of Aleksey's biggest obstacle, which I have heard from many accountants before, is really how do you dictate those prices that you truly want without having that fear? And like he said, convincing yourself you are worth it and prove to yourself that you are worth it. And really that you're probably worth more than that. And I highly invite each of you to maybe do a little exercise today that will help and support you in this, because you are all of value and intelligent and smart. But think about all the CPE hours and continuing education credits that you have invested a ton of time in. Do an inventory of how much you've done in school. Maybe you have an undergrad, maybe you have a master's, maybe you are a CFP, maybe you're a CPA, maybe you're an enrolled agent, maybe you're a certified tax coach, maybe you're a profit first professional. Like, the list goes on and on and on, and actually write it out with a piece of paper and a pen and see what happens for you and see what shifts and transitions through your conversations with clients going forward. And let me know if that helped you out too. And you can do that by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a written review for the podcast. And let me know, how did this conversation today make an impact on you and your revenue and you helping more clients? And also, over the last couple of years, I have been perfecting something called our Selling Without Ever Selling system. It's the 8-week sales mastery training. And really, up until now, really my only high-end clients have had access to this. But I am excited that I am offering some free coaching sessions so that I can share some of this information with a few of you. So if you are an accounting professional, your business is doing over $100,000 in revenue, and you've been in business over 2 years, feel free to book yourself a call over at theabundantcall.com. Once again, theabundantcall.com. And we will discuss maybe what challenges you've been having, what don't you believe you could ever have happen in your firm. And again, this free coaching session is for you. So once again, head on over to theabundantcall.com if you've been in business for at least 2 years and are already doing over $100,000 in revenue. I want to say one more time, thank you all so much for joining me here on the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It's always fun and an honor to be here, and have a wonderful day.